All right, folks, good evening. A little bit late on the draw tonight, but we'll get you caught up. Thankfully, fairly quiet after a very active night last night. So we'll let a few folks get on, and we'll go ahead and get started here. Basically, I hope this is our final push for possible heavy rain. So we'll continue to track this for you. I know a lot of folks have been asking about this. Like I said, sorry, I'm a little bit late on the draw tonight, so we'll get it done for you, okay? All right, I think we've hit our magic numbers. Let's go ahead and get into it. Appreciate you all tuning in. I'll try to answer all your questions. I'm going to kind of go through this fairly quick because, again, we know what the possibilities are. We've been through it 4 days in a row now, so we're continuing to watch that, and hopefully we don't have a repeat of last night. I really don't want us to have a repeat of last night because I'll be real honest with you, and I know a lot of you probably feel the same way. Most of you were probably up all last night with us. And I have not had a nap, so I'm ready for a nap, and I know a lot of you all probably are too. So I know it's been it's been stressful for a lot of folks today if you've been dealing with flooding, and some folks have. So I'm going to take you on a bit of a brief radar tour here. We're going to come in toward Hazard. Not a whole lot of action. A couple of spotty showers here just north of town, back over toward Emelina. An hard area from flooding yesterday, but again, not too bad up there. Just a small band, hard shell over into parts of Breathitt County again, right along that flood warning, along the Kentucky River there. One thing I'll pass along to you, and it actually should have happened a little while ago, actually about 15 minutes ago, they have shut down Highway 15 in Breathitt County there in Jackson and have been doing evacuations in a couple of different areas, Lakeside. Oh, Lord, let me pull up my phone so I can look at it. It's Lakeside Drive, maybe. And then, hold on just a second. I don't want to mess it up here. Lakeside Drive, Brewers Trailer Court, and Panbo Road. That's kind of close to that Panbo Lake out there. So they're waiting on the North Fork to crest, which should happen in a couple of days, maybe even late tomorrow. So we're going to keep an eye on that for you. But that's basically where we're at with that. All right, so why is this not changing? Let's switch that. Just a second. There it is. That's the right source. Sorry about that, folks. I had the other computer, which had the static live shot. But there's what I was talking about there, the rain just to the north of Hazard, back over toward Emelina, north of Pippa Passes, around the hard shell area over there in Breathitt County. But again, I wanted to mention that about the evacuation there in Jackson due to flooding and the possibility for more flooding up that way. Flood watch continues until 10 o'clock tomorrow night. It was originally supposed to be to 8 o'clock in the morning, then they expanded it overnight last night to 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Hopefully it won't make it that far, and you'll see why I'm cautiously optimistic that it won't make it that far here in just a minute. So hopefully they'll be allowed to cancel that early, and I'm looking forward to that. Pikeville Medical Center tonight, pretty quiet out there, no major issues. We're going to continue to watch that, and we'll continue to kind of keep you updated on that. Buffalo Mountain here in Perry County. Not too much going on up there tonight. And temperature's not too bad. Clintwood back online. Had a little bit of a power outage. I think the Pikeville Airport and the Hazard Airport still dealing with some power outages up that way tonight. And we're still seeing thousands of people without power across the region. I know Letcher County at one point had 7,100 plus people out. And I'm sure that they're still slowly doing restoration efforts over there. But when you've got floodwater, it's hard to get to some of these power poles and things that have been knocked down or washed away or anything like that. Finally talked to Steph. She made it to work. She was working overnight tonight, and she was telling us that we had a little bit of damage at the house, but we were relatively lucky compared to some other folks. That there was no water in the house, just some things that washed down from up the road from us that caused some small issues over there at my house. So again, probably going to have to get some equipment to clear it out because it sounds like it's pretty heavy to move. So again, thankfully everybody's okay. No water in the house, no real damage, just a little bit of damage and maybe to the debris in the yard type deal. Okay. All right, so 70s out there across the region, close to 80 there in Jackson, 79 there, 78 Prestonsburg, 79 in Ashland, 73 in Jonesville, 75 Middlesboro, Jacksboro, 77 Somerset, Irvin, Moorhead, and Monticello. I'm going to take you back to Doppler here in a minute. But basically, I want to take a good look at this. Matter of fact, take a good look at this, and I'm going to show you something else, okay? So you see that? You see this is a model run, okay? So you see that heavy band of rain back over toward Louisville. Let me switch source. That is pretty close. It's a little further ahead of the game there, but you've got that band of rain right there showing up near Danville, okay? Very electrical. Go back to this one. That's pretty close. It's a little ahead of the game, but watch what happens. And this is why I'm cautiously optimistic tonight. Oh, look at that. By midnight, it literally splits, like parting the Red Sea. So if this model is accurate, the hardest hit areas will miss the bulk of the rain tonight. So that is going to be a very pleasant situation if that comes to be. Now, as we get deeper into the overnight, I do think we could see some showers start to kind of tighten back up there. This is this system trying to move out tomorrow. Not quite out just yet. And I'll actually point out to you when it's starting to move out here. So we'll continue to watch that. By lunchtime tomorrow, some of the heaviest bulk of the rain coming through parts of the area and starting to move out. But a couple little bands will still move through. But you'll notice up here, this is the edge of the frontal boundary. It's going to continue to push on out, and then we might even see some clear skies by midnight there going into Saturday morning, which will be a nice change of pace, and then a cooler start to Saturday, maybe a few clouds out there. Otherwise, should be a fairly dry day overall. Cross your fingers. I would like to see a dry, comfortable, and somewhat sunny day on Saturday. I know you all would, so we could get through all this mess and start the cleanup process. I know there's still a lot of people out there having trouble getting into contact with a lot of folks, and I can tell you we've had several calls here at the TV station today, people asking for me, wanting to talk about where I live in Letcher County. People have been having trouble getting in contact. We've had hundreds of messages of people in other counties have been having trouble getting in contact with, and it's not always the worst case scenario. Everybody's like, oh, something's happened to them. No, not necessarily. Sometimes it's just the communications lines are down. I know that cell phone lines are down, landlines are down in Letcher County, internet's out in a lot of places over there, so it's just hard to kind of get some communication out there. So people, again, just kind of hang in there and don't let your mind go straight to the worst case scenario, because a day or two might go by, things start getting restored, and then all of a sudden like, hey, we're okay. So again, but unfortunately, and the governor said this morning in his first news conference, we've already had some deaths, and I think that number is going to continue to go up. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll keep you posted. But the latest number from the governor's office is 8. He did not release which counties. We independently confirmed 3, 1 in Perry, 1 in Knott, and 1 in Clay. But all the other ones still kind of out there, not even sure where they took place at. So again, we're continuing to kind of keep an eye on that for you, and bad situation. So just stay optimistic, okay? Stay optimistic that everybody you can't get in contact with will turn up and they'll be okay. Let's talk about rainfall totals, potential rainfall totals. We could still get by Saturday morning, basically, let's say Friday night at this point, because this is the in-house model that shows the rain moving out basically before midnight. Another inch or so, I think we could handle that if it's not in the areas that have already been worked over. So some heavier bands potentially to the south. You see Williamsburg about an inch and a little less than an inch and a half there. Now, this is a concerning situation, especially down toward the Cumberland Valley. You see a couple of spots there, half inch, 3/4 inch, up to 1 inch, possibly out toward Somerset. But the closer you get to the border on this one, Monticello's a stout total. Middlesboro, look at that, 4+ inches. I think that's overdone. I really do. But this just kind of goes to show you, it looks like the higher totals on these new models are closer to the Kentucky-Tennessee border, which is areas that have not been worked over just yet. I'm cautiously optimistic, and I'm going to keep using that phrase, that the bulk of the rain will miss the areas that have already been worked over. But regardless, today and tonight, this is basically tonight now, we are still under that moderate 3 out of 4 risk for excessive rainfall. So don't let your guard down, okay? It's not the time to let your guard down at this point. We got to stay the course until we know for sure that, hey, the bulk of this rain is going to be moving out. And then tomorrow on Friday, we still have a moderate risk, 3 out of 4 for basically hazard east back over toward Pikeville, most of the Big Sandy into parts of West Virginia and Southwest Virginia, and a slight 2 out of 4 risk for the rest of our region there. So again, an elevated risk again tomorrow. So again, stay on guard, stay aware, okay? Remember, just like we talked about last night, all night long, do not drive through floodwater. Don't underestimate it there. Turn around, don't drown. It is never, ever, ever worth it to drive through floodwater, because not only are you putting yourself in danger, you're putting anybody in the car with you in danger, and guess who has to come try to rescue you? Stretched thin first responders, and they are really stretched thin right now. So just don't do it. Don't put their lives in jeopardy. Don't put your life in jeopardy, because all you got to do is turn that wheel and go back the way you came. I mean, you obviously got to the water, so just turn around and go back through the dry, okay? 6 inches of fast-moving water can knock down and carry away a full-grown adult, probably less than that for a child. Again, 12 inches, which is about halfway up on your tire on a car, and 18 to 24 inches, which is 2 feet on the high end of that. Fast-moving water can carry away trucks, SUVs, and vans, okay? So just don't do it. It's just not worth it. And we've seen a lot of that continue to be a factor for some folks. Now, a couple stronger storms still possible tonight. Tomorrow, of course, our main concern is the flooding, but I do think we'll start to wind this system down as we head into tomorrow evening and tomorrow night, and hopefully that flood watch will be allowed to expire a little early. 7-day forecast for the weekend's always in view, and we'll continue to see cooler temperatures as we head into the weekend. Can you believe Sunday is the last day of July, and then August starts on Monday? Increase the rain chances a little bit. We may have to back those off just a little bit as we get a little further into the weekend, but continue to watch that, and we'll continue to monitor over the next several days. I'm going to back up for a second and show you Doppler again, because I kind of skimmed over, and forgive me for this, and I know a lot of folks are like, you didn't talk about that to the west, and I didn't, because to be real honest, my brain is trying to shut down. So let's go back over and take a look at this near Danville. All right, so it's actually pulling up on the Louisville radar. So let me scoot over a little bit so we can get the Jackson radar, if it'll do it. There we go. So again, approaching the region there, it's actually approaching like Madison County, and then it'll eventually come over into some of those northern counties that were worked over a little bit last night, maybe more like Powell and Estill counties, the northern parts of those counties, northern Jackson County, and then over toward the Mountain Parkway corridor, I-64 corridor. So we'll continue to watch that. It's kind of moving to the east, pulling just a little bit to the northeast, but the bulk of that rain out of our area for the moment, and we will continue to track that for you. And then let's go back to the home view real fast. You'll see there's not a whole lot more behind that, okay? Now, there's a little bit down toward Bowling Green, but again, we will not leave here tonight until we are certain that things are going to stay calm. We'll keep our caffeinated water going, and we'll keep trucking, okay? All right, let's head on over to your Facebook comments. Just a second. Let me get back out here to the home view so you can watch the rain with us. All right. Okay. So appreciate everybody who's watching and tuning in there. I know a lot of folks without power. I'm going to update those numbers here in just a few minutes. We've got just about an hour left before the newscast. I'll get those updated for you tonight, and then hopefully things will calm down in the overnight hours there. Greg asked if the pet store in Isom if it's flooded. I'd say so, because our reporter Chandler Wilcox tried to get to Whitesburg today, couldn't get past Isom, but I could see from one of his shots that the road right there, as you go around that curve going like toward the Double Quick, was water covered, and if it got up that high on the main road, I'd say the pet store that was right there, kind of along the riverbank, probably got some of it too. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, Dustin saying the Isom IGA was underwater earlier, but that was awful video. I can't imagine. Can't imagine that. I feel so bad for Gwen and her team out there. Gwen owns the IGA, know her very well, and they spent so much time and effort redoing that to make it more energy efficient, and it's just that now they're going to have to do it all over again. So again, we'll just kind of keep an eye out for that. And hopefully it won't be as bad. I'm sure the water got inside that store there too. So we'll just kind of continue to watch and pray for them and pray for everybody. I mean, pray for your neighbors tonight. There are so many people that even if you didn't get a bad situation at your house, there are so many people out there who've been deeply affected by this. Some people had to fight for their lives, to fight to stay alive. Some people lost everything. And, you know, that's one of the great things about being in Eastern Kentucky and being from these mountains. We band together in situations like this. And I'll be real honest with you. People are probably going to think I'm crazy when I say this. This event for me ranks right up there with March 2nd. This is one of the craziest events I've ever covered at WYMT for flash flooding. Now, we've had some worse river flooding, obviously, but for flash flooding, I have never seen the water climb this fast in just, you know, a few areas. And even cities, Whitesburg, Neon was underwater, Jenkins had some issues, Hazard had issues, Hindman had issues. Again, it was south of Jackson, but Alice Lloyd College over in Pippa Passes had issues. You know, you think about things like that, so we're going to continue, again, just kind of keeping an eye on things like that as we continue on. But just remember your neighbors, okay? There's a lot of folks still without power tonight. There's a lot of folks who may be watching this on their phone in the dark. So, again, just remember all those folks who are dealing with all this tonight. Let's see here. I see a lot of you going back and forth in the comments about Kentucky 15 and Jackson there. They did close the road as a precaution. The lake did not burst. Basically, they're just watching the North Fork River there as it continues towards its crest in Jackson, North Fork of the Kentucky River, just to make sure they're taking the precautions they need to take just to keep people safe in case a situation like that happens. And now remember, we were told before that it was imminent. It was going to burst, and then we had live shots and we had people up there and, you know, round the clock coverage, and then nothing happened. So they're being cautious, and we can appreciate that here, taking those precautions. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Pamela, how many inches of rain is expected in Floyd tonight? Pam, I really can't specify on that, because as we go back to again the models, you'll see. Hold on just a second here. So this is our in-house model, and it's got basically Prestonsburg at less than or about 3/4 of an inch, and this is the NAM that's got it 1/2 an inch. So again, remember last night, we got a lot more than that in some areas back over that way, and a lot more than that earlier this week. So the rain, when it gets into this stalled out pattern, if it parks itself over an area for a long time, it can dump a large amount of rain, and no model is good at handling that, especially if those cells stall out there, okay? So again, just be careful, all right? And Pamela, they are evacuating some folks. If you live over toward Martin, we have a web story up on that. The city of Martin in Floyd County, flood-prone areas, they are trying to get evacuated because first responders are just stretched so thin, and they're wore out because they've been doing water rescues all night, all day. There for a while to this morning, every page to every department was water rescue call, water rescue call, water rescue call, because people were stranded. They couldn't get out, and they were having to call 911. And I mean, that was the best case scenario, but these volunteer departments and these swift water rescue teams and all those folks, they're wore out. So hopefully people are safe tonight, and everybody is at least doing okay, okay? What does downtown Hazard look like? I know Steve went down there a little while earlier, and it looked like it was a little bit better. There's still some ponding water, some high water in spots. The North Fork here in Hazard has not quite crested yet, but that should happen at some time. It might have actually already happened. It was supposed to happen at 9 o'clock tonight, but it may just be now happening there. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. It was supposed to crest, I believe, in moderate flood stage. Don't quote me on that, but Yeah, so we'll kind of wait and see. But again, we're going to continue to watch that. Let's see here. Wayland, that was a place that our Jordan Mullins went today. Sabrina talking about that. She said everyone in Wayland, including my family, and I lost everything we own. Hopefully no more flooding. And Sabrina, we can agree with you. I saw the pictures of Wayland and Garrett. Heartbreaking. So we're praying for you and your family and everybody over there who lost, and anybody across the mountains who lost everything. So again, we're praying for you all. Rebecca, my house is fine. We had some debris in the yard. The water got up close to the house, didn't get in the house. Even if it come a little further in, because it's right there at my steps. Our house sits 5 blocks high, so it sets up pretty high. So it would have to be very, very much higher than it was to get inside the house. So appreciate you asking about that. Let's see here. Bailey and Cody, supposed to have my baby Sunday. Can you get from Whitesburg to Hazard? Yeah, I think I heard on the scanner earlier today one of the troopers was asking if they could get from Hazard to Whitesburg, and the other trooper said they could. So just take it slow, take it easy. There might still be some ponding water out there in some places. Let's see here. Rhonda and Mike saying that Joyce Chang, I know Joyce very well, owns the Panda Garden in Harlan, doing a fundraiser to help with the flood victims. That's awesome, Joyce. I appreciate you doing that. I know a lot of folks will continue to support you and support that endeavor, even folks from around the region. All right. Let's see here. Kathy, how much more rain will we get in Virgie? Kathy, I hope not much. I really hope not much. We've got the numbers here pulled up, and of course Pikeville is the closest sensor to that, or I don't want to say sensor, but the closest reading to that to Virgie. And you see there less than an inch, less than 3/4 of an inch. But I'm cautiously optimistic that the rain will split, the heaviest bands will split and go around you guys. Okay. Charlie, is this from now until Saturday? Technically, it's through Saturday morning the way I've got the timing set, but I believe it'll be by late tomorrow evening, maybe mid tomorrow evening, because the flood watch expires at 10. I don't expect it to hold out that long. I think this will be gone out of here before, maybe right before dark. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that as we head deeper into the future. Jackie, I hate to see that you just hopped on here, but I'll give you a brief recap because I know some folks are going to hop on and off and don't want to keep going through this more than a couple of times. But basically, possibility for heavy rain tonight. Cautiously optimistic that it'll miss the worst areas that were affected by last night's flooding, but we'll be here watching and kind of keeping you up to date. Jordan asked, will this be the last night of the rain? I hope so. At least for a couple of days. And we'll get a little bit of a break and start to dry out just a little bit. Okay. Will the new rainfall affect the crest? It's possible if we get a lot of it, Donna. I don't think it'll be too crazy on the effect there. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on that to see how that plays out. Wilma asked, sorry, my brain is trying to shut down. Do I know if the water got into the log church at Buckhorn? I do not know, unfortunately. We could not get it. Our reporter up there today, Phil, I think he got to the Buckhorn school, which took some heavy damage up there, but I have not heard anything about the log church. Braden, I don't think that, no, I don't think that he's asking if do I think a flash flood watch will be issued for the Kentucky 15 dam failure potential? No, and I don't think that dam will fail. I mean, it would take a lot of water and pressure to make that fail, and I don't think so. I think if it failed, it would be another flash flood emergency instead of a watch. Okay. John, are we looking for any more hard rain tonight in Prestonsburg? I hope not. There's not much going on. Let's go back to Doppler for just a second there and kind of walk you back through that. There's not a whole lot in the area right now in general, and I'm cautiously optimistic that it will continue to stay fairly quiet there. It'll take just a second to bounce back over. There's some coming toward Prestonsburg, just a little sail, but it's nothing too crazy. It's nothing too crazy. Riley, yeah, Hyman was a wreck. I mean, it was awful in Hyman. We were talking about that last night. The Holly Hill Shopping Center, the vocational school, the Appalachian Arts Center over there. I mean, it was awful. It was awful over there. Anything I can say about the water levels in Whitesburg? I talked to Mayor Kraft a little while ago. I tried to talk to Judge Adams a little earlier, tried to get in contact with him, but where the cell phone service was so spotty, I couldn't reach him earlier. I know it got pretty rough over there earlier today. I do think it's slowly starting to go down some. I have not been home. I have literally been in Hazard since yesterday afternoon about 2:30. So it's been a long day, and then I'll be staying here in Hazard tonight and then trying to make it home tomorrow. Okay, so I'll keep you posted once I kind of go through there. Okay. Let's see here. I'm just trying to skim through to see if there's any more that I really need to touch on. Again, possibilities are there to see some heavy rain across areas that got some heavy rain last night, to see some more, but for the most part, I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll be okay. Regardless, we'll be here monitoring and be on air if anything happens, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Bailey and Cody ask, is everyone at the news station's homes okay? Yes, we are okay here in Hazard. It really didn't get close to a lot of folks' homes here, but everybody's okay. Everybody is okay here at the news station. Casey, Everett's, maybe some heavy rain, but you all didn't get much yesterday. So the places to your north got soaked pretty bad and flooded pretty bad. So again, we'll just kind of keep an eye on it. That's basically all I can tell about that. Okay. Paula, no, we that's not made it to us. So and that if that had happened, we would have heard about it by now, and it would have been a bad situation. So let's see here. All right. I'm kind of scrolling through kind of fast, so give me just a second here. Renee said future radar shows most of the rain dissipating before it gets to southeast Kentucky. I do think that could be true. I really do. Models have not been handling this system very well, but I think this run is pretty similar to actual radar. So I think we might get lucky tonight. I think we might get lucky tonight and dodge the bulk of the rain. Okay. All right. So I do believe we'll see some possibilities for heavy rain tonight in some areas, some heavy rain tomorrow. Todd, the front is already stalled out. That's been our problem for the last week, basically. It's been stalled out to our north. It's been moving north to south and not moving out. And we've been getting the situation where it just keeps moving, and then once it finally moves out, then we'll get rid of it and we'll be in good shape. Okay? All right, folks, I wish I could stay on here for a lot longer and keep answering questions, but we're about 10:15. We've got to get ready for the 11 o'clock news. Hopefully you'll tune in there, and we will continue to give you updates. Hopefully, cross your fingers, say your prayers, that things will be much calmer tonight. Regardless of what happens, we will be on the air. We'll be keeping you protected, as we always do, and we appreciate you tuning in to this Facebook Live and on air as well.